Okay, thank you very much. We're starting about 5 minutes late, but we're all friends here, I hope. So please bear with us. Welcome to the Society of Research Software Engineering, AGM 2025. Now, we've got quite a bit to go. Okay, I'll take a pause. Okay, now the challenge is you lot need to keep that energy up and only make it better throughout this evening's 40 plus slides, which we're going to get through in half an hour. Um, that's optimistic. You'll get through them if I keep on clicking. Right. Very quickly, this is your introduction. The trustee reports and updates will come. We're asking people to whiz through them fairly quickly. You are very, very welcome to ask us questions. And as ever, we're taking questions through Slido, and you'll get a QR code on the next slide, but you can also go to Slido and use hashtag AGM25. So we'll go through the trustee report, which I'm sure you have all looked at, really, really enjoyed, and have detailed questions on that. If not, again, Slido is available. So we'll have 50 minutes of questions then, and then we'll spend the last 10 minutes welcoming your new trustees for the next year. And that is a nice way to end the AGM. So this session, our purpose is to vote on resolutions, and you have been doing that, members, through email, and the votes so far have been about elections, I should say, and I'm sorry to say this. Members and non-members, you're very, very welcome. Voting things were only for members. If you wish to vote your trustees in or stand as a trustee, then you must be a member. It's only £20. The purpose of this meeting is for us to update all of you on what we've been doing in the last year, and it isn't just what you see here at the conference every year. And most importantly, for us to listen to the membership and what you want to tell us and shape the society for the future. So we are a UK charity, and we aim to support research software engineers in the UK primarily, and provide a home for those who don't have a national organisation. And in the interest of being quite brief, you can see our charitable objectives here at the bottom. Feel free to look at our annual report. If you like, the QR code is there. Again, that has been circulated in advance of this meeting. It's an awful lot of hard work, and what we're going to do is give you a distilled version of that today in this session. I'm just going to give you some quick highlights from the last year, and it has been amazing. So, first of all, the organisation is 6 years old. It's been a charity since 2019, but building on roots going back to 2013. So thank you, everyone who has contributed to the society over those years, given us your warmth and all your energy. You're right, I am not Matt. Matt Williams, unfortunately, maxed out his stay, and he didn't have a chance to change the constitution to cling on forever. So you're faced with me instead. I don't think it was our succession plan for me to be president this past year. So this has been a year of learning for me. And I have to say, I was shadowing great people, and I was vice president the year before. I'm looking forward to hopefully staying on for another year and doing it properly. RSE Con, where you're at right now, remains the flagship event that the Society puts on, but we have so many new special interest groups which you'll hear about, and we continue to support our membership through funding, the amazing mentorship scheme, which I've been part of this year, which has been really rewarding, and we do rely so heavily on volunteers across all of this room and beyond to take part in working groups and to really help us pull the conference off every single year. So it is a group effort. So thank you all very, very much from me. And this is also supported by the Software Sustainability Institute. Thank you so much for donating 50% time, and we'll introduce you to those people that embody that time later, which I'm sure you've all met. So the current trustees finishing and retiring are on the left. There's 9 of us. 3 are standing again or are eligible to stand again. So out of those people who may or may not make a return in this meeting, can you put your hands together? And if you're on this list on the left-hand side, could I ask you to stand up, please, and receive some applause? So thank you. And I will ask them to hang around at the end because I've got a little something for them. They work incredibly hard, and really thank you from the bottom of my heart too. Online, you can find this sort of graph, this plot of trustees over time. You can see that we have had the return of Marion and Kirsty, who filled in when other people stepped down. So thank you to them in particular for coming back to the society. We really do appreciate that. But I think there's something like 45 people here. So it might be the society's mission to go through everybody in the membership at some point in time. So you can never escape. But this just shows the breadth of engagement from the membership that we've had running it. And there were additional 2 people this year who stood down, who can't be in this room, but to Pip and Yo, thank you for your service and your generosity as well. And keep it going to the SSI, because without the SSI, we wouldn't have Lindsay and Michael, and hopefully this year you've got a chance to meet Michael. But both Lindsay and Michael, would you stand up briefly and wave? Thank you. I don't know which 50% we get. Is it the left half or the top half or the bottom? We don't know. But thank you very much. And Simon and the SSI and Neil, really, we do appreciate that kind donation. And finally, we want you to be involved in the society in various guises. These are the ways that you can get stuck in. There's lots of different working groups, special interest groups. Scan the QR code here. And I'm going to accelerate a little bit. These slides are available. And these are ways that you can, as an individual, get more involved in mental health. Mike Simpson's certainly involved in that. I hope you heard his talk this afternoon as well. And these are the directions that we may want help in going forwards with. So again, scan your code. Okay, I think you've had enough from me, so I'm going to hand over to 2 of my colleagues who, and this is where we swap over quite briefly, and in a very slick and coordinated way, he says, unlike my talk this morning. We want the clicker. Gillian, please take it away.
Which way round's the best way? Right, so I'm Gillian Sinclair. I'm one of the trustees that's standing down and restanding again. So I might be back, who knows? So I want to tell you a little bit about special interest groups. So last year at the conference, there was such an overwhelming sense of enthusiasm for so many different areas that we got a glut of new people wanting to come along and do special interest groups. So to manage all this, we've put a new process in place, and I would love to see, Lindsay might disagree, but I would love to see as many new special interest groups this year as we got last year. So if anyone's interested in forming a special interest group, please drop us a line. These are the ones we currently have. They are open to everybody, whether member or not. You can find them on our Slack channels. You can find more information about them on our website. Many of them have mailing lists. They do their own events. If there's something there that you want to see up there, come and speak to us. Because we have so many people expressing interest in setting up groups last year, we've now got a really good process in place for getting all the bits and pieces in order. So if you have an idea for special interest group, we will help you set up Slack channels, websites, advertise you to our members, everything. So don't feel that you're going to have to do all the work yourself. There is support available in place. I think that's really all I wanted to say.
So Pat, thank you very much. The next slide should give you a clue who you hand over
to. I hope anyway, let's see. Yeah. Hi. Hi, I'm Steph. And I talk about the EDA and Royal Diversity Working Group. First thing is thanks to everyone who's given their time. It's a really nice mix of both trustees and members, which is really great. We'd love to have more members. And to do that, you can find us on the Slack panel. Does this even have a little laser? Yes. Go there, chat to us, all those emails, lovely. We do everything as public as we can, so you can see what we're doing as well, what kind of mayhem you're getting yourself into. And thanks also specifically to all the community members who helped publishing the RSE stories. Previously, we've kind of done this ourselves and been hilariously slow. And it's been amazing to actually have people who come out and just like smash through them. Brilliant. So more of that as well this year, please. Would love that. And yeah, highlight a bit of collaboration with SSI. That's about it. I'm going to pass over to Twin and Sam.
I think you're the first one.
Hello everyone, I'm Twin Carver, trustee and steering group chair for this year for the Inside the Conference and Events group. And yeah, has everyone enjoyed the conference so far? It's definitely not because of me. I put in a tiny bit of work, putting everyone together, and then all the committee did such an amazing job. They put so much time and effort into this. So can I get a clap to our committee members? And yeah, we've kind of gone up from last year, 434 people from 420. What's super action-packed this year, full 5 tracks of talks. And I've had lots of people complaining that there's so many talks they don't want to see at the same time. So apologies, you can actually catch things on live stream afterwards. We're with 2 events this time and everything's recorded. So hopefully you'll be able to do that. There's like new meet and greet events. I don't know, has anyone attended the new meet and greet events? Yeah, a few people, yeah. So yeah, that's from our BDI chair, Laura. And yeah, more bursaries awarded than ever, 25 bursaries. So well, yeah, it's been amazing. And I'll pass it to Sam.
Yeah, let's make that over. Cheers. Okay, so if you put in an event initiatives fund request and it took a while to get back to you, then actually, sorry. But we did actually give away an awful lot of money this year, to the point where I think Martin was a little bit he was happy. Okay, so this year we actually exceeded our budget. So we have a 10k allocation to give away to events and initiatives for the year. We exceeded that this year, and I've already spent some of next year's budget. But we did give away, we did support the most events that we have ever supported, and we received the most number of requests that we've ever had. A lot of these were kind of around support for attending events, and I was very pleased to do that. If you put in a catering request, we probably said no, because we wanted to support some other cool things instead. But please do keep submitting. We do want to keep supporting things. And yeah, I'll try to be a bit quicker. And oh yeah, it's me again. So I also took over membership this year. I have been nagging everyone about a survey. The reason why I've been nagging you about surveys is because there's like a factor of 10 difference between the people that are in our community and the people that are paid members of the society. And we want to understand that difference. We want to understand what benefit you get from the society, why and how you interact with the community, and what you might want to see that's different. So organisation membership came up there as a question mark again. It comes up. I've had no end of emails about certificates, about membership, and trying to understand who wants a certificate and why, and the perceptions of what the society is. And we're trying to really unpick a lot of that. And I've had a bunch of help with this. On the membership, we tried to reduce duplicate members. It's still £20, and we are still at over 700 paid memberships. So we did get a little bit of a dip and a bit of a rise again around the conference season. We have had, again, some problems with some of your payments on Warwick, and we have, I think now, pretty much everyone's direct debit sorted. But we will keep plugging away. But please, if you haven't been in the community survey, it's really, really important.
Thank you. I will be super quick with an update from the comms team today. So the main changes that we've implemented in the comms team over the last year is we have started using Buffer, which allows us to post to multiple different channels simultaneously, and you'll see why we have to do that in a moment. It also allows us to queue up posts, which has been really useful, particularly in getting stuff ready for the conference. And it reduces the workload for us posting across all these platforms. In particular, it makes it easiest for us to do things like adding alt text to images. And I know we have not been 100% successful with this. I do want to apologise for that. We are trying to do better. and Buffer is one of the tools we're using to help us do that. We've also made some improvements to the newsletter based on your feedback. So a lot of you were asking us, why don't we include the content of the newsletter in the email? We have tried to do that as much as possible. If you have any additional feedback about our newsletter and how we communicate, please do get in touch and let us know. And finally, the other thing we've been doing this year is making more of an effort to regularly promote things. So we've been soliciting submissions to the newsletter, which means we've been able to put one out almost every month this year. And we've had a lot more stuff to talk about and shout about. And I think we've also made the effort to promote the events and initiatives fund, which I think is hopefully part of the reason why we've had so many successful applications this year. I won't go into this in any detail, but this is a brief rundown of all of the comms that we are currently doing. If you scan the QR code, it takes us to the link tree where you can get to all of our various feeds. Please do follow us. But you can see that we've had fairly steady growth across almost all of the platforms that we are active on over the last few years, and particularly big growth on LinkedIn and through continuing growth on Slack and so on. So yeah, please do get involved and follow us on our various channels. And finally, we do have a comms working group. So if you have any input or suggestions on how we can make our comms better, more accessible, and help us with our sort of outreach, help us with publishing the newsletter and that sort of thing, you can get involved. The working group is a mixture of trustees and non-trustees that you've seen working to improve our communications, and we would love your help and support with that. And back to Steph.
Me again. Hi. Mentoring scheme. Yeah, Abby can't be here, but she also helped run it too. First of all, thank you to all the mentors and mentees. Can I get a raise of hands if you were a mentor or mentee at any point in the scheme? Yeah, round of applause, come on. Yeah, thanks so much. I think it's one of the best offerings that we have. Pick up your shiny sticker if you have been involved in the scheme, if you haven't already. This year, we've upped it again. So we've got 37 pairs involved in the scheme compared to just shy of 30 last year, with only, I think, a £400 increase. You've all looked at the figures, I'm sure, from the report, so we all know this. So that's really nice. We've essentially all the costs there, the payment to Coach Mentoring, who run the scheme. They do the training, they do the pairing, they run workshops and collect all the feedback. So it's around about 8K, as I'm sure you all remember. Yeah, please grab a sticker if you haven't already, and thank you again.
Thanks. Okay, so the goal here is just to sort of take you through a high level of the society's finances, so you know kind of where we get our money, what we spend it on. You will have got a copy of our formal accounts at the back of the trustee report. It's not the easiest thing to read. We've had to switch our accounting basis to a more formal one as we've got bigger, and our accountants prep that for us. But there's a sort of narrative report that's got the key numbers in as part of the trustee report, and that's sort of what I'll highlight here. So we mostly get our income from the conference, and that's kind of half. If you look at our income, basically 90-something% of it is related to the conference. So 6% comes from membership fees, but then when we spend our money, we spend 84% of it on the conference. So for the rest of it, you'll see two percentages. The small percent is the percent of our overall expenditure, and the big percent is the percent of our expenditure that isn't on the conference. So the big things we're spending our money on are what you heard about today from my colleagues: community grants, sort of 28% of our non-conference expenditure; the mentorship scheme, 24%; community infrastructure, about 20%. So that's our membership platform. That's providing sort of Zoom for community events and a few other things. And then we spend about 27% of about non-conference expenditure on administration, of which about half is paying our accountants, and the rest is some combination of paying for trustees to get together occasionally, some systems we use to kind of run the society, and sort of bank fees. Most of those are related to bursaries that we send out for the conference. The second table underneath is sort of our financial position. This is where we are at the moment, and the key number to look at is the one at the bottom, this 129,703. that's the kind of money we've got effectively at hand that we could spend on stuff. So they've got a bit more money in the bank, but between money that we owe for services that we've been invoiced for but haven't paid, money we paid for next year's conference, income we've got for next year's conference, but we'll have to pay for next year's conference from money. You know, when we collect VAT on things, we collect that on behalf of HMRC, and we pay that after the end of the year, quarterly. So that's sitting in our bank account at the end of the year, which is what end of June, which is when our accounts are done. And if you sort of follow all that, you sort of end up at 130,000. Now, you know, we've got a reserves policy. That means we need to keep a certain amount of that available to sort of bootstrap another conference and pay for a year's worth of sort of society activity. But that's kind of, if we go below that, we're in emergency mode. So we want to sort of stay a bit above that. And what we, you know, the way we sort of fund everything else is basically from the conference surplus. So on average, that's 23,000. But in RSE Con 23, we made a loss of 15,000. Last year, we made sort of higher than usual surplus, which partially offset that. This year's looking sort of pretty good. I think we'll sort of hit a kind of target. We hope to land somewhere between 25 and 35,000 surplus. There's you know, some uncertainty in kind of what conference income is going to be. There's uncertainty in what the expenditure is going to be as we go along. But if we were hitting that regularly, we'd be sort of accumulating surplus. And so I'll come to that, what we do with that accumulation in a minute. But in terms of the sponsors of the conference income, you know, the big sort of variable is sponsorship income, and you can see that's been kind of wildly different over the years. And a lot of this goes straight back to the conference. It's what allows us to pay for those 25 attendance bursaries. It's what allows us to support hybrid streaming, which allows people to join the conference remotely, but also allows all of you to jump on and see the stuff you missed in parallel sessions. And it's the key thing that, along with about £14,000 of our sort of membership income, will allow us to kind of have a sustainable basis for supporting non-conference activity. So you know, if you think about that overall, we're in a really healthy position. You know, we've got this surplus. We didn't go bankrupt when our conference made a loss in RSE Con 2023. It lets us plan for stable expenditures based on a rolling 3-year income, so we don't have to shut down the events and initiatives fund if we've had a bad year. And our goal is to continue to target that kind of healthy surplus on the conference and start to scale up kind of what we disperse that on out into the community. So we've got this average net income of about 37,000 over, if we sort of roll back over several years. And we've already started to kind of do more in community grants. We've got special interest groups standing up that we're looking to support financially as well. And if you have any ideas for how we can best support, you know, our members and the wider community, you know, with our financial sort of surplus from the conference and membership, then please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. And oh yeah, and to echo what Dave's saying, it's not cash, but if we had to pay for half a person to provide the support that Lindsay and Michael have supported us from the SSI, that you know, we wouldn't have a surplus at all. So, you know, again, thanks very much for the Software Sustainability Institute for providing that kind of support.
Okay, super. Thank you all very much. Don't give up. Okay, we did whiz through that as promised, because we do want to go through some questions which have been coming in on Slido. So if somebody can help bring Slido up for me, then we will go through that. We will then stop at about 1:45. So we'll answer the last question in 15 minutes time, and then we'll do the elections. Okay, that has to happen in this AGM slot. So first of all, the Slido, and I think last time I looked, it was quite clear where it was going, but I don't want to make that assumption. So let's see. Okay, so you would like us to spend 5-10 minutes introducing a draft ethical sponsorship policy, and it's gone off the top of the screen. But Steph, would you like to spend 5-10 minutes doing that? And we will leave, therefore, at least 5 minutes for other questions. So Steph, over to you. If I can help assist, let me know. Here's the clicker.
Cool. Thank you. We're going to jump back to the slides. I know, what a whirlwind.
Sorry, we did appreciate the Slido. We'll come back to it.
Fine. We will then go back to Slido. So there is a draft ethical sponsorship policy here. You can scan that QR code and have a look at it now. But I'm going to The crib notes version, essentially, I think we accept that sponsorship is crucial for us actually existing. I think it's roughly half the cost of the conference is covered by sponsorship, so it just wouldn't be able to run. But we also want to represent our membership. So we drafted out a policy. Currently it has, you'll notice, nothing in the avoidance criteria because that's where the dragons lie. But we've gone for, essentially, if it's part of their core business function, then automatically excluded for anything that's above £100, except for donating time towards volunteering in events or organisation. We think that's fine. Anything that's less than £100 will just be publicly declared. Glorious. But I think it's going to be a really interesting debate, and I don't want to unpick that hairball directly because I think it would just be a lot. So we're going to have membership votes to actually work out what that is in a couple of stages. And then once we've got that, let's say we get, that all gets cleared up. To change the avoidance criteria, part of that policy is that we have a vote from members. That could be at an AGM, you could bring a motion, EGM, or we just do it as an online vote as we did the elections. And if it's unclear, then we either have like whether a sponsor meets the criteria, then it'll be a trustee vote, or a vote to the membership if the trustees really don't feel like we've got a good sense of where this lands. So we're trying to cover the bases, and this is our hilarious process for working out the areas. So I think this is sensible, but we can chat. So please come talk to us at the stall, especially if you read this after a couple of drinks tonight and have feelings. Love to hear them. First, we send out one membership form to collect all the avoidance criteria, why you want to have that there, and who you think will be affected. Possibly who you don't want to be affected as well, because you start putting categories down and you get interesting side effects. Then the trustees collate, confirm that with the people who submitted, saying it sounds like you 12 people, we contact you, say is this the category that fits? Because you all said slightly different things and we're kind of aggregating that. Then we have a separate form afterwards with all those where it gives time for other members, or perhaps the same members, to come up with reasons against inclusion, because they think actually this is it's not an ethical issue, or it doesn't represent the society in a bad light, and they do a members vote. How we do that members vote is going to be great fun, because I don't want to Brexit this and have just 50-50 split, and then, but we'll work that out. We've got some time, and I expect for getting all this sort of lined up, we're talking a couple of months at least to get to the end point, but that feels like the most sane way to do this and have a mature and honest conversation about it, where people get the time to actually consider what the implications are. Yeah, that's it. Cool. I'm sure questions based off that, and hopefully I can, let's see if we can jump back. I've seen it happen once. Yeah, cool. Nice.
Steph, would you like to handpick the ones that you think are in relation to this? And I will come back once you finish that to other questions.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to get some parts, we get a round of applause for sponsors, please. Yeah, and can we post questions? Good shout. Yeah, if you want to give advice to other people, there's other platforms. Fine, that's not related. Yeah, we do, almost, not quite. So that's that one, lovely. Yeah, there's already some debate, which yeah, is exactly what I think. If we had sort of a live debate on it, it could get cyclical very quickly. Actually, there's not too many, unless they're just. Did I miss one? Oh yeah. Will any of the vote quorum? Yes, interesting. I think we'll follow, and I can't remember what the rules are for an EGM in terms of what proportion need to be there for a vote to count. 10%. Yeah, okay, fine. So we'll follow that. Follow the same rules for any sort of motion you want to table there. But exactly how we then, yeah. Hopefully we just manage to make this in something that the membership, even if you have feelings of sort of indifference towards something, will get you to turn out. If not, nah, it's democracy. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, back to the top again. Shout if I miss anything, because there was timeline. What's that? Which one? Sorry. Oh, right at the top. Ooh. Oh yeah. I very much would expect we'll having time for an AGM conference. I'm gonna hate myself for this, but like, if it's not by 6 months, I'd be really surprised. And like, optimistically, like 3-4 months feels kind of tenable. Something in that kind of range is what I would hope for. But yeah, we'll see. It feels like you want to have the voting open for a decent chunk of time to actually allow people to collect their thoughts and deal with people who, yeah, have a sense of apathy. You want to prompt them into doing it a few times, I think. Yeah, I think just seeing this one, I think if you want to have that debate, come chat with us at the stall. If you want to guide the policy, do that. If you want to be involved in society, please do. It'd be great. Like, if you want to change things, stand, join a working group. I think you can really influence things. We'd love to capture that energy and really bring that in to society. Yeah, I'm not sure about like the majority. Yeah, 2/3 doesn't seem too bad. But if you have yes, no, maybe, do you ever get a majority? Or yes, no, don't care? So I think we'll need to work on that in the lead up to it. And part of, I think, one of those forms will be, what is the threshold that you'd be comfortable with?
Steph, we'll give you a couple of minutes. This is a really difficult position to put you in as you're live scrolling. So I think it'd be reasonable if there isn't any more for you to cede control. But if you do want to pluck out another couple, you may.
It is a question. So that's good. Okay. If there's more 2 options, excellent question. Okay, so you have like for individual area, my first option is I don't have a preference, and then my second option is yes, I want to add it. I don't know. So what's the benefit in that? I have like I feel like it's either a yes or no, and there's like, I don't know, I don't want to give you an answer. Maybe if we can think of a situation where you might have one where it actually practically makes a difference, but I assume it's really only the yes that actually is the affirmative one that actually makes the change, and there's the neutral, which just gives an option of, it's essentially an implicit no, but through like, I don't want to weigh in on a side, and then a no is more like it definitely shouldn't be included. Maybe, yeah, give it some thought. Off the top of my head, I didn't consider a transferable vote, but interesting. Yeah, if you can drop by the stall and chat to me tomorrow about what you had in mind for that and where it would be useful, because at quick glance, I'm not sure. Yeah. Nice. I think that's probably, I don't see anything new that's coming in that time. There is a question. Great, cool. Well, that was fun. Let's do it again.
I think Steph. Okay, that wasn't easy, and I hope you'll also understand from the society's perspective, we've now got something which I think is, we're dealing with it because we're growing, because we're popular, because we have a lot of people that care about various things. So help us think it through. I will be the first to acknowledge that thank you so much for having that debate through. You can text us, but we can talk to you. That's just weird, okay? So thank you for hanging on with us, which is why we're all available for a chat anytime, and why we're going to come through some processes where hopefully we can hear everybody's views. So help us come through that. Help us understand what this policy should look like and reflect genuinely the wishes of the membership. So help us through that, and together, you know, we will be stronger. Right. What questions have we got? There was something about the slide deck I noticed that seemed to have both love and hate. If you dislike the slide deck, then you will also dislike the annual report. I'll just say that much. Steph, you got the first one. It would be lovely if these could moderate themselves. Oh, they keep on moving. Is there a way of getting the most popular one to stay at the top and pop up the top? Right, okay, we will take this one. Many communities are moving away from Slack to other platforms like Zulip, Mattermost, Matrix. Mike, nice one.
Yes, so this is a conversation that we have had a lot of times over the last few years. Our general consensus at the moment is that for the moment, Slack is where the community is. There are a small number of very vocal people, and we really do appreciate your opinions on this, but there are lots of people who say we should stop using Slack. If 4 people in the room tell us that we shouldn't be using Slack, we get 6 different suggestions on what we should be using instead. So we need to come to some sort, if we are going to mass migrate the entire community to another platform, we need to agree on what that platform is and make sure that we do that carefully and we don't end up fragmenting and losing touch with people. So yeah, it's an ongoing conversation. We are open to suggestions, but there hasn't been a sort of clear, obvious choice yet. And as I showed you earlier, the community there is still growing.
Okay, I'm going to take these next 2 that you can see at the top, because I think they demonstrate the same subject, but very different views. That we have, as a society, on and off, even before I was a trustee, spoken about whether we should have perhaps formalised links with the British Computer Society, for instance, which is somewhere in between. I think what I'm seeing from this, given that they both have 12 thumbs up, you both want it and don't want it at the same time. So I think speak to us. And let us know what the pros and cons are. Sam might want to add to this one. Thank you, Sam. And then I think we'll probably just take one more question after this.
And I'm going to say it again, put it on the community survey, and then we will discuss it and we will come back to you.
Yes, use that. And Sam, oh no, she's going away. How can we find out about the community survey?
I have plastered flyers pretty much all around the building alongside the RSE story ones. Please also come to the desk if you want a stamp. I will say, have you filled in the survey? And I will not necessarily stamp your card until you have at least scanned the survey, because I'm a little bit mean. But we have emailed you, and it is in Slack, in both Slacks, the RSE Con Slack and the RSE Slack. And if you are ARC, I've also emailed you about 20 times, a message you in Slack going, please fill this in. This is your regular reminder.
And I think that fits nicely with the last question I'm going to answer before we have the elections, which is, with that surplus, could you organise more aspiring leaders, training, network meetings, funded socials? Yes, we do need to spend that surplus. And there was another question which sort of suggested that. We're not here to build a profit. We need to spend the surplus. We need to spend it on our membership. So again, that is a good opportunity to use the survey to tell us where you would like that to go. So there are many, many questions. Well, there's some questions and many, many comments, which we will respond to, as we did last year, in a blog post, which will take a bit of time because between now and the next trustee meeting, we all sort of flock back to trustees. We have no particular roles. And that is a nice segue to the most exciting part of the AGM, which is the election results. So I'm going to hand over to Mike, who will take you through that. And our scrutineers will also join Mike at the appropriate time to talk you through the elections process. So thank you very much for listening to us and engaging with us as part of the AGM. Let's keep that dialogue going. Do appreciate it very much. And now on to the elections.
So, yes, we are here again. Time for elections, and you'll be delighted to know it is slightly less chaotic than it was last year. For those of you who were in Newcastle, we ended up having a bit of a chaotic time last year, but we've got a much more organised time this year. I was have to do a shout out to Abby, who had been in charge of the elections team this year, but unfortunately can't be here because she is off saving lives and doing other more important things. Where's the clicker gone? It's over here.
Probably what's up with it. You've got to get it.
Just to give you a brief idea of what we're working with here, the rules are that we can have up to 14 trustees, and we had 14 trustees coming out of the AGM last year. As Dave mentioned earlier, we had 2 trustees stand down earlier in the year and replaced them with Kirsty and Marion. Thank you again for all your help. And the rules are that a third of the trustees must stand down each year to make way for fresh blood, and we're in a situation where 9 trustees are standing down today, as you've already seen. And we have 10 people who have nominated themselves to stand as trustees, which again puts us in this unfortunate position that we were in a few years ago where we had to say no to a single person, which is absolutely horrible. But we do have a large number of people who put their names forward, and we were able to get membership involved in selecting those people. So we have 10 candidates, and I'll go through their names in a minute. And in order to be, so I know in the past we've had comments about questions about this. In the past we have done the vote at the AGM, but the problem with that is that we then sort of delay the appointment and stop the new trustees getting appointed. It also limits the vote to only the people who are in the room and doesn't let the rest of the membership vote. So we did an online vote, which ran through July and August early this year. And this year we made a concerted effort to leave the sort of nomination period and voting period open for a little bit longer in order to get as many votes as possible. And then we've had our lovely scrutineers who have done a brilliant job of counting all the votes and managing all of those results for us. But before we get to the results, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of the people who put their name forward. So big thank you to Ian, William, Elena, James, Martin, Ryan, Gillian, Mark, Adrian, and David for putting their names forward and standing up to help us support this community. As I say, we can't do our job without the volunteers and the trustees. So thank you to all of those people. And now is the moment of truth. I'm going to hand over to Jonathan and/or Simon, wherever you are, to announce the results.
Thank you. Right, those of you who saw the video 2 years ago, not a lot has changed except for the names and the numbers, so this will be somewhat familiar. So society elections are always run with a single transferable vote system. If you're interested in the technicalities of voting systems, this uses a modified drink quota and fractional transfer of surplus votes. It's complicated, so there's a Python module that does it. We use that. It's the same code as the 2023 election. It's been used for a few things in the society now, so we're reasonably confident in it. We had 99 people vote, so given the membership over 700, that's a fairly small fraction that care enough to elect trustees, which is, speaking as someone who was a scrutineer and voted, is a bit disappointing. Try and get the word out, get more people actually expressing an opinion. All of the votes are valid, so there's the token you put in, nobody put in a fake token, and nobody voted twice. If you do vote twice, then your latest vote actually counts. So we have a quota of 9.9, and to elect the 9 people out of 10 options that required 4 rounds of the voting. We don't just rely on trusting the code, we actually do a bit of sanity checking to make sure the results look reasonable as well. So all the votes are in Google Forms, and you can very easily check the number of votes and duplicates and so on. We also get a nice little graph coming out of it of the distributions of votes. So it doesn't do the transferable vote thing, but you can sort of sanity check, okay, yeah, the people who got elected in round 1 had a lot of first preference votes. That kind of looks same. The people who were in the later rounds had quite a lot of last preference votes. That looks same. And the one thing I would say, again, it's painful being the one person that misses out. It was a very close call between 9th and 10th place in this particular election. But there has to be someone. So, without further ado, we have 9 new trustees, or indeed returning trustees in a few cases. So, congratulations to Ian, William, Elena, James, Martin, Gillian, Mark, Adrian, and David.
Thank you very much to our scrutineers who do a difficult job, but such an important job. So thank you to both of them. Okay, wrapping up. I can still be your trustee and president. Super. Excellent. And we will work with, as any election process, it is a shame to see one person lose out. We will work with that person to find ways of giving them another opportunity to work really, really closely with the society and stand another chance, because there is this process every single year. So we want to thank everybody who stepped up and volunteered their time and continues to do so. So to bring us to a close, thank you so much to the conference committee for finding time for this AGM in this meeting. So a round of applause for the conference committee. Thank you to all the trustees that have the work there. And the last one is to all of you for coming, for sharing what you care about, and thank you for sharing your time, because this is between you and the pub. So thank you so much for coming along today. I really appreciate it. A round of applause to everyone.